What's up, Internet? This is Rambling Josh, and you're watching another episode of Let's Play Pokemon Red. Since last time, I have healed up my Pokemon, and for what it's worth, I also deposited a bunch of useless items in my PC just to free up inventory space. But anyways, I have returned here to the Game Casino, the Game Corner, whatever it's called, and since I have the the lift key now, I can ride the elevator to whichever floor I desire. First stop, B4. Is there anything over here? There is. Iron. I believe that increases defense. So let's use that on... I guess let's use it on Dugtrio. Doesn't make too much difference one way or another who you actually use it on, but whatever. You had plants there? I mean, I guess you had dudes in Mount Moon, yeah. Now, if you were playing Pokemon Yellow, these guys would actually... I think they would technically be a single trainer, but it would be... These guys are replaced by Jesse and James from the Pokemon TV show. So that's kind of interesting, I guess. I believe Jesse and James are like another set of characters that you encounter throughout the game. They always have a Ekans, a Coughing, and a Meowth. Although I believe that the Ekans... Well, I know that the Ekans and Coughing evolve eventually. I don't think the Meowth does, though. Because, you know, gotta stay true to the show and all that jazz. Oh, Sandslash. Why are you so pathetic? Burned again. Wait. How much HP does this Drowsy have? That's actually pretty good. It's almost as much as Gyarados. He really does have a lot of HP, doesn't he? Like I was saying, I think yesterday, how Hypno tends to have a lot of HP and a good amount of defense compared to Abra and Kadabra, but I didn't think they had that much HP. Not that I'm complaining at all. Unfortunately, the one probably biggest, maybe not biggest, but one of the big downsides to using Hypno over Abra and Kadabra, aside from the stuff that I mentioned yesterday already, is he doesn't learn new psychic abilities at quite the same rate. Like, I think Kadabra learns Psybeam at level 25, and then Psychic at, like, some point, I don't know when exactly. Whereas Hypno actually never learns Psybeam, and he goes straight from Confusion to learning Psychic. So there's no kind of in-between. Psychic being the strongest Psychic type attack, and he learns that at level 37. So it would be kind of nice to kind of pound out a whole bunch of levels with Hypno to try and get that ability, because it's not quite as bad as like using Charizard with Ember, because Confusion is pretty good still. But it's a similar situation where even a super effective attack that's weak can still be not as good as one would like. So anyways, after beating those two guys, we get access to this dude. And this fellow is Giovanni, who I don't think anyone has ever mentioned at all, ever, before this, but he's the leader of Team Rocket. So he's the big head honcho. I didn't think he had an Onyx, but whatever. Getting pretty lucky with Hypnosis here. Although he's getting pretty lucky with waking up. Okay, well, that's enough with the Hypnosis. That's quite the critical hit there. Wow. Killed that Onyx in one hit? Like, without a critical hit or super effective or anything. That's interesting. Let's give Dugtrio a shot. I don't know why I chose Dugtrail over Gyarados, but whatever. Down he goes. Kangaskhan. What the heck, let's go with Jolteon. That's probably not a good decision, but whatever. How bad could it possibly be? Thunderbolt's a good attack, so there's that. Not too shabby. And Comet Punch shouldn't be too dangerous. That's actually quite powerful for a multi-hit attack. It could just be because Jolteon is kind of weak right now, but whatever. Killed him all the same. Lots of experience from that one. This cannot be! Indeed. What do you hope to achieve? And he disappears, and drops... I guess he drops the Sylph Scope. Or the... I guess it's... yeah. The Sylph Scope. Let's just go with that. Any other pronunciation seems wrong. So, we are done with the game corner here. So now we want to take the elevator to B1. This is just a sort of shortcut out. This guy's just sticking around, and I guess he hasn't realized that his master is being defeated quite yet. But that's okay. We'll beat him all the same. Confusion! I think it's safe to say that our friend Drowsy has become a useful asset to the team at this point. He's certainly managing to hold his own now. Why? And that opens up that door that was there. And with that, we can just walk out. So, now that that is complete, my next destination is to take this Sylph Scope that we obtained, and there's actually a whole bunch of places we could go at this point. If we wanted to, I'm pretty sure there's nothing stopping us from going over to the west here, over this way. Oh, well, okay, I guess there's that stopping us. But while we're here, let's take a look at what's up here. Because, why not? There's this dude. Thanks? I feel like there's, like, some sort of secret over here that I'm not aware of. Or, not that I'm not aware of, but I just can't remember what it is. Aha! I thought it might be that. So, from that lady, we get HM2, which is actually quite convenient. HM2 contains Fly, which we can use to fly to any city that we've previously visited. Unfortunately, the only Pokemon I have that can learn Fly is Pidgey, which is kind of one of the downsides to the team that I've chosen. If this was a future generation Pokemon game, I could teach Fly to Charizard if I so chose, but that is not the case in Generation 1. Apparently being part flying and having wings is not enough. So, unfortunately what this means is that the only thing I can really do is teach Fly to Pidgey, and eventually I am going to have a 6th Pokemon on my team. So, just deposit HM2 and the lift key here, since I don't need either of them anymore. So when it does come to the point where I have obtained that 6th Pokemon, it's going to get kind of annoying because I'm not going to have a Pokemon on my sort of core team to fly around with. So if I need to fly, then I need to go back to a Pokemon Center and get Pidgey out. Anyways, we're in Lavender Town because now that we have the Sylph Scope, we are prepared to climb the Pokemon Tower. So we are going to do just that. So you may recall this is where we fought our rival over to the east there. Aha, so they do tell you that you need a Sil Scope. I didn't think that they ever did. Fancy that. Now, I'm not quite sure what these people are supposed to be. I think they're supposed to be like possessed or something. What are they called? Channelers? Yeah. But if I didn't mention before, this place is chock full of ghost-type Pokemon. And ghost types are pretty interesting, but they have a very odd role in the first generation game. Or games, plural, I suppose. Basically, ghost types have... There are several different types of attacks that actually just don't affect them at all. Kind of the way that ground and rock type Pokemon aren't affected by electric attacks. So if I were to try and use... well, let's use a Body Slam on this Ghastly to demonstrate. It doesn't affect Ghastly. Oh shoot. Then there's Nightshade. So, Ghost-type Pokemon are not affected by normal-type attacks. There's a couple other types that don't affect them either, but normal is the most noteworthy, just because it's a very common attack type. So, you have to rely on your special-type attacks. Say, Ember, Bubble Beam, all that stuff. I don't think Dig might work. I don't know about, like, Rock Slide and stuff like that. But yeah, so that's one thing. The other thing is that Ghost Pokemon, in this game at least, are very bad against Psychic types for two reasons. The first is that every Ghost-type Pokemon in Generation 1 is also part Poison, meaning that they are all weak to Psychic-type attacks, despite Ghost types themselves not being weak against Psychic-type attacks. I guess that's it for this floor. In fact, well, in future generation, Ghost types are strong against Psychic, so Ghost type attacks will do extra damage. They'll be super effective against Psychic types, but in Generation 1, that's not the case. In fact, it's very much the opposite. In Generation 1, Ghost type attacks don't do anything to Psychic Pokemon. They're completely ineffective. So that's kind of interesting, and it's definitely a good thing that they changed that around in future generations, because, as I've said before, like, in Generation 1, Psychic types don't really have any weaknesses at all, aside from the fact that they're not, like, ultra good against other Psychic types. The other thing to note is that there actually aren't that many Ghost-type attacks in Generation 1. I think there's only 3, if I recall correctly. One of them is Lick, which is an interesting attack, actually. It doesn't do a lot of damage, but it does have a chance to inflict paralysis. A pretty good chance, too, actually. As far as I recall, anyways. And then there is Nightshade, which we saw a Ghastly use previously, which is basically identical to Seismic Toss. So even though it is a Ghost-type attack, because it does a fixed amount of damage, which is the same amount of damage as your level, it's not going to do any bonus damage, even if the enemy is weak to Ghost-type attacks. Okay, use this HP up on Dugtrio, because Dugtrio is kind of bad, so he needs all the help he can get from all our stat-boosting items. And there is... I think those are the only Ghost-type attacks in Generation 1. There is one other Ghost-type attack that I think... Now that I think about it, I don't think it actually is Ghost-type. I think it's kind of associated with ghosts. There's an attack by the name of Dream Eater, which... Wow. Did it really take me that long to get into a random fight up here? That's interesting. Well, not really, but anyways, Dream Eater is, I believe it's actually a psychic attack, even though it's typically associated with ghosts. So, yeah. Also, another thing is, I might have mentioned that there just really aren't that many ghost types in Generation 1. It's basically just Ghastly and his evolutionary line. Ghastly, and then he evolves into Haunter, and then Haunter can evolve into Gengar. In future generations, I really tend to like going for that kind of evolutionary line. Even though Gengar is another one of those Pokemon that you can only get by trading a Haunter. That's the only way it can evolve. I find that in general, in Generation 1, they're just not all that useful, if I'm totally honest. Ghost types, that is. So, I really don't know that there's a whole lot left to say about Ghost type Pokemon. They're kind of weird. They're not very useful. They're shoved into a very weird niche just because of the way, like, there's just a small amount of them and their attacks and all that in this generation. Did I get into a random encounter on a square that is also within the sight range of a trainer? It seems as though I have. Indeed. So yeah, that's a thing. That can happen. One of the things you actually might have noticed there for a second is that because this trainer decides to run over and challenge us. There's a Haunter. We can actually take a little bit of a shortcut to the stairs if we so choose. But I do not so choose. There's Nightshade, so that's going to do 23 damage. Which is a pretty good amount, but I am not worried in the least. There's a very good reason for that. Partly just because, well, I'm awesome. But also because... Aha! I didn't think she was going to challenge me. If we step on these squares here, they regenerate our Pokemon. So it's basically like a portable Pokemon Center. Zombies. What about zombies? There are no zombies here. If I'm totally honest, I'm not entirely sure why they actually put it here, because, like... I mean, I guess this dungeon is somewhat long, but it's really not that hard at all. Like, I'm just tearing through this place no problem. Of course, a lot of that's just because of Hypno, but if I could do all this with one Pokemon and barely even, like, get a hit on me, then... I don't know. It just seems kind of unnecessary. I mean, I appreciate it, and I guess there's been times in the past where I've used it. Obviously, if you don't have a Psychic-type Pokemon, then this place can be a lot harder, but... I don't know. I guess it's just the fact that if you don't know how to handle Ghost types, then it can be kind of tricky. If you don't really know exactly which abilities will work and which won't, then you can spend a lot of time just messing about and making wrong decisions, I guess. Although I guess, now that I think about it, you might have to actually walk your way back out again, so... I guess it makes sense to put it there if you have to walk both ways. So close to killing this Haunter in one shot. Is this thing higher level than, like, the ghosts that the trainers have? It is. Interesting. Oh, random battles. Why are you so random? While Ghastly appeared. They really could have done a bit better job with that sprite, in my opinion. I mean, it's a pretty well-made sprite. It's, like... It does a really good job of looking all, like, misty and, they have, like, the mixed shades of purple and all that. I don't really care about poison gas. I mean, well, I suppose it could be handy, because it is a poison-type attack, and I'm pretty sure it does do damage, not just, like, oh hey, you're poisoned. I don't think there are many situations where poison-type attacks are actually that useful. Not Like, I can't even really think off the top of my head what they're effective against. I think they're good against grass types, but... Well, whatever. Hypno is getting very close to learning Psychic. Normally I wouldn't really worry too much about... Like, I would try to spread the experience out a little bit more, just because... No, I don't want to switch Pokemon. I do tend to like to try and keep my Pokemon's level fairly even, and Gyarados and Dugtrio, and especially Jolteon, could use a little bit of leveling up. Whereas I've been using Hypno pretty much exclusively for a long time now. But I do want to hit that Psychic. Once I do that, I'm pretty much fine with just leaving Hypno alone for... not the rest of the game, because obviously he needs to still level up after that, but... he's basically done at that point. He's got... well, not quite all the abilities he needs, but... his ability list is never going to change, and... yeah. Once he reaches 37, anyways. It's not quite the matter yet. But we're getting there. Much like we're almost done with this dungeon. Stupid wild Ghastlies. Well, you gotta get in my way. Just wasting my time. You're not even worth all that much experience. I find it kind of interesting also that these trainers, like almost all of them, only have one Pokemon. Some of them have two, but it's kind of odd. Makes them not even like they're basically most of the trainers in here are basically the same thing as just a random encounter that's worth a little bit more experience. And I guess money too, but I don't really care all that much about money. I mean, I don't know. I've said a bunch of times throughout the game that money doesn't really... it's not worth all that much in this game. Like, you can't really do a whole lot with it. Or at least there's not a whole lot that is particularly useful you can do with it. Like, obviously you can buy items, but your inventory space is always pretty limited, and I just find that you usually don't really need them all that much. Although, I could have done with a couple of paralysis cures in the last little while, but I don't know if there's anywhere I could have even bought those. I just don't know off the top of my head where you would buy those. Jeez, right on the counters. But money, it will come in handy eventually. It's probably like at the very end of the game where I don't really have anywhere left to go or things to do, and it's just kind of like, yeah, okay, whatever, let's just spend our money. Let's just spend all our money on something. Now this is where your journey stops if you don't have the Sylph Scope. Since I do have the Sylph Scope, I can use it to identify the wild Marowak. If you don't identify it, then I'm pretty sure nothing happens. Like, I don't think it'll attack you, but none of the stuff you do, like, you can't attack it, you can't catch it, you can't really do anything but run from it. So now that we have identified the restless soul of Cubone's mother, then we're all good. I believe I talked to one of the, on a previous episode, I talked to one of the citizens of Lavender Town, and they said something about Cubone's soul, or the spirit of Cubone's mother, or something like that. The implication is that that is who we just encountered. It's, I think it was like, the Marowak was supposed to have been like tortured by Team Rocket or something like that. I don't know. Whatever. I probably should be giving some of this experience to Jolteon, but these things are worth so little experience, it's not even worth it. Like, even with the trainer bonus, they're not even worth 300 experience. Okay, well, let's give this one to Jolteon. It's a Golbat, so it's an evolved form, so should be worth something. Die, Heathen! One shot. 1 kill. Nice job, Jolteon. One other thing about that Marowak is that... Oh, what? That's just kind of weird, that the way these guys have to, like, walk out. I'm sure you are. Anyways, as I was saying about that Marowak is, you actually can't catch it. It's physically impossible to catch that Marowak. It will dodge your Pokeballs so that they just... No matter how good a Pokeball you throw at it, it's just like, yep, yeah, okay, whatever. I'm not gonna get hit by that. So it's not even a chance of, it's like a really low chance. It's like it just doesn't even check. And I will go with Gyarados against this Drowsy because Psychic on Psychic is just never a fun time for anyone. Bite is actually a really good choice against Psychic types in future generations because they decided to make Bite a Dark type attack, which is good against Psychic types. But I mean, in Generation 1, Dark type Pokemon and Dark type attacks don't even exist, so that's not really a consideration this time around. It's kind of annoying that I have to wait for them to walk out. It seems like a bit of a waste of time. But whatever. It is what it is. Oh joy. More Zubats. Even lower level than the previous ones. That's okay. I've got enough confusions left to kill all of you. It's a Rattata. It's a different Pokemon. Oh man. I don't know if I can manage this. Good thing I got a critical hit there. I don't know if I could have managed otherwise. Oh man, Raticate. It's serious business now. Another Zubat. Oh, I wasn't expecting that. It's just like a Zubat bookends on this guy. It's pretty dangerous stuff. Don't fight us, Rockets, he says as he loses. And now that those guys are dealt with, we can talk to Mr. Fuji here. Aha. I didn't really do anything other than kill the Marowak spirit. Oh, this guy just takes you out of the tower. That's convenient. I thought I had to walk out. Well, I was just going to use Dig if that was the case, but whatever. Okay. And thus we receive the Pokeflute, or the Pokeflute. Interesting. So the Pokeflute is a really interesting item for a couple of reasons. For one, you may recall that we have encountered a couple of sleeping Pokemon on the map that were barring our way. One of which was the guy to the west of Viridian City, not Viridian, Celedon City. And then the other one, you may recall, is the guy who is at sort of the intersection to the south of this town and to the east of Vermilion City. See if I can pull it up on the map here. Around here. So we can use the Pokemon Flute to wake them up and clear out the path, but we could also use the Pokeflute to wake up sleeping Pokemon in combat. So that's interesting. It also makes these awakening things not be useful. Just for the heck of it, I'm going to use this rare candy on Charizard, because why not? Get him a little bit closer to learning another actually good fire-type attack. So anyways, now that we have obtained the Pokeflute, we have a couple options open to us as to where we can go next. Don't need Awakenings anymore now that I have the Pokeflute. And sell this Nugget. And I really don't care for X accuracies, so whatever. So anyways, we will decide, or, well, I've already decided, but we will see what my decision is as to what we will be doing on the next episode of Let's Play Pokemon Red. Catch you later.